first of all, can you guys please please watch this video right now? Can y'all please kindly just go ahead and watch that? It will make me hard. The guide for Himeko Nova is going to be out. If you don't want to read all that, it's great. I think the most important thing I would say for Himeko Nova is specifically this right here. I have myself here 7 different combinations of team comps, right? 7 different unique teams that I tested, and this is not even everything that you could test, because you could try out a lot of different combinations with Himeko Nova because she was just so versatile with all of these units. The TLDR, I would say, the most important one, like if you can just take away like one thing, right, is that Weld is really, really good with Himeko Nova. So the way that she works from the 2 different protocols, like this one right here, there is this one issue with Companion Verdict, which is Verdict only triggers upon your ally's ultimate usage. But you need to cast 2 ultimates for 1 assist skill for Companion Verdict. Whereas for Decimation, you just need to hit the target 9 times. Like hit 9 different targets, which makes it considerably easier to actually trigger against Verdict. Unless you're in pure single target scenario, then it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, right? So at a baseline of E0, from what I've seen so far, is that because of the ease of access on Decimation, Weld Yang was just a really, really nice character to use, because obviously you're not gonna be using Hunt March 7th, right? You're not gonna use base Himeko, and you're not gonna use Evernight. So the only person in the entire game right now that can trigger Companion Decimation is Weld Yang. And Weld Yang is a really, really good source because Himeko's S1 gives her 32% defense ignore. So it's almost as if Dawei planned the defense ignore source perfectly such that her light cone is 32%. And then Weld Yang plus Mortonix's Blade is 70%. So you have yourself exactly on the dot. Okay, technically 2% over, but 100% defense down without any other external requirements. So she just hit that 100% defense down from an E0 Weld and an E0 Blade, which makes her damage go up really, really high. And because of the way that Decimation works, you also gain like a shit ton of stacks from Mortonix's Blade, because it's going to be full AoE. And then the very last unit is going to be seen right here, which kind of just binds the team together. You can see how like this result is so like, it's so clear that one team is just like way better than the other team, which is the M-Blade E1 Tribi and E4 Weld Yang. 0 cycle with 123 AV remaining. But okay, to be fair, this Huan 0 cycle, I was actually super impressed because it was done with full AI. This was full auto AI, and the AI managed to cook this 0 cycle with a Huan sustain. Then the alternative is actually going to be quite good as well, running our E1 Tribi into a Sparkle, which also has the AI. Hanamar 7 allow an infinite loop. Okay, chat, bro, just delete the term infinite loop in your brains, bro. Infinite loop is the brand new buzzword because all of a sudden, every single fucking like potential showcase ever since the E6 Tribi incident happened with E6 Blade, you are having infinite loop. So there's no more 0 cycle showcase, it's a fucking infinite loop showcase. So you know like how Gojo Satoru, right? You know like fucking red and blue. Yeah, so you get a red E6 Tribi and a blue E6 Blade, and then boom, you get Murasaki, and then like you just infinite loop everything. Nah, bro, get that shit out of your head, because I don't think this is gonna be a very long-term thing that's gonna be happening. And even if it really does happen, right, the conditions for the infinite loop to take place is you need the number of targets to be on the field. So the very easy way to fix this is to no longer have the amount of targets there, or they add like a debuff, and then it will never be repeated ever again. So it is what it is. I mean, it's satisfying, but like, nah, it is what it is. Also, please do not buy 2 more welds in the shop just for an E4 weld. I personally feel Welt without E4 is still going to be her best in slot option, purely just because of decimation. Okay, yeah, as I was saying, yeah, I think E2 Welt is gonna be pretty important for the energy, but from what I've seen so far, the energy is actually not that bad. Because you are usually doing tutorial mission begins anyway, so that gives you energy. And if you are to permacast your skill, because assist skill doesn't cost skill points, so your Wei Yang is able to pretty freely just continuously spam skills. It doesn't really matter on the E2 that much, because tutorial just gives you so much energy. So bottom line, I feel at E0 is still gonna be a really viable option. Okay, that's a great point. That's a great point. If you're using both Wei Yang and M-Blade in the same team, who do you give tutorial mission begins to? Because you can't use resolution, right? Because Blade and Wei Yang is already 70% defense ignore. So if you skip Himeko's S1, okay, if you skip Himeko's S1, yes, then you can add resolution. But if you put for Himeko's S1, that is 100% defense down, so resolution actually does absolutely nothing. So for this particular question, right, I personally feel you can still give Wei Yang tutorial, and then you force yourself to give Blade the Herta Store Lycon if you don't have his S1. Because the Herta Store Lycon can give you energy as long as you get a bit of the DOT. But Wei Yang actually don't apply DOT. Whereas Blade, if you somehow manage to get a burn, you still get a little bit of DOT. Because otherwise, you legitimately just don't have another free-to-play option to use, period. So for E0 S0, I actually gave my Blade like the Hertas or Lycon. But ideally, if you have to get the additional upgrade, then the S1 on Blade would definitely be preferred. Then stick to Wei Yang with the tutorial, so that's gonna be fine. Yep. But between Blade S1 and Himeko S1, I would highly recommend getting Himeko S1. I feel like I wrote this somewhere here, right? Alright, the cost maxing thing, right? If you are only gonna invest one cost, I think S1 is still gonna be a really good option. So the main reason there is because damage wise, the Lycon actually didn't change too much, because it's only gonna be like less than 15% damage increase. And keep in mind, this was because my crit rate gear on D Herta, it wasn't even optimized. So I was like 24.8% crit value over the crit damage. So if you make this crit damage even higher and drop down the crit rate with D Herta Lycon, you're probably looking at close to like 90% difference for your ultimate damage, which is actually very similar. But a more important thing is the 6 energy. The 6 energy from the S1, there's no replacement. And the more you use your assist skill, the more value you get from the 6 energy. So I would say the S1 is incredibly fucking valuable, right? But she really just reminds me so much of Final to the point where her E1 and E2 are also really good. So ideally, if you're gonna be going for Himeko Nova, right, you should look at her from the same cost investment as Final, essentially. Like, you invest in this DPS herself instead of thinking on the teammates. Just like how Final you want to invest in the Idolist himself first. Because whether or not you have yourself the Saridra, there's, okay, like back then anyways, when Final first launched before Saridra, you could still do E2 S1 Final clears without Saridra, right? Then you just put Saridra on the rerun if you really had to make a choice, right? So I would rather have myself an E2 Final without Saridra than an E0 Final with Saridra. So I think a very similar sentiment can be said over here. I would rather get myself an E2 S on Himeko Nova, depending if Robin SP is going to be her after sales, essentially, right? Okay, ER rope or attack rope. Generally, I would say ER rope for majority of the situation, but you can definitely run attack rope for like 0 cycles, because you're actually getting quite a bit of energy from the kills, external sources, getting hit, as well as every single time you go into the new wave, you refresh your skill. So you get a free 30 energy. So with that being established, you actually don't really care too much if you're going to be running energy regeneration rope or attack rope. But specific to like 0 cycles, if you don't really care about that, and just like through a long-term damage consistency, I will just stick with energy regeneration rope, right? Okay, but a very fun thing over here, I actually did this little chart, bro. You know when I made Himeko Nova, right? It reminded me of my prime Poke days, because I legitimately put in so much effort for her guide. Yo, chat peep this shit, bro. So I cooked up her energy regeneration from scratch, from E0 S0 all the way up to E2 S1. A very interesting thing is, if you're gonna be going for E2 S1, right, you can completely drop ER rope, because you just nice hit 144 energy from her assist skills, which means that even without ER rope, you can very easily gain 100% assist skill uptime from your external sources, from your free +5 energy from the ultimate, as well as the 5 energy from a trace. So it was like very, very smooth. But if you don't have E2S1, then I would say E1, it will help you become more consistent because you can let go of all of your assist skills. But if you really, really want to think about an E0 baseline, generally I would still stick with E0 essentially. Is E0 well bricked? Not really, because you really don't really have another better choice. I feel. Yeah, I feel. I mean, I guess this one was not bad. Right, we didn't use it well here, so we used E1, Tribby, Sparkle, and DHPT. So this one was not bad. 0 Cycle, 19 AV. So not really the end of everything if you don't really want to use it well. Oh, the one elephant in the room though, Mr. Sunday, right? So you can see how out of all of our little clears here, right? They are all either 0 cycle or 1 cycle. The one single team that got a fucking ugly 3 cycle was with Sunday, which is just like really, really unfortunate. So the thing with this Sunday is that if you were to use Sunday, which will activate Companion Protocol Verdict, you kind of really want to get yourself a Huehue, because Huehue will give you the energy regeneration, since you want to cycle out this entire team to pass your ultimates as fast as possible. Alright, so Huehue is going to help you a lot. But if you were to use Sunday instead of, for example, Sparkle, right, you don't have access to as much buffs. Like the damage multiplier you get from the Sunday, or rather the buff multiplier you get from Sunday, is lower than Sparkle. Yeah, so that was kind of like the issue over here. The sustain was actually not too big of a difference. Frankly speaking, if Sparkle could use Huehue here, I would, but you need at least one Astro Express member, so I still start with DHPD. If you were to use DHPD instead of Huehue here, I feel that it could work as well, but I don't think this will change too much, because Huehue giving us the additional energy can proc Verdict way better than DHPD himself. Alright, so if you do want to use Sunday, you could, but I would seriously reserve myself a little bit, essentially, right? Isn't Mimi better than Teep? Not at E1. Not at E1. I think at E1 Tribute is still really... Okay, single target-wise, probably. Yeah, but the E1 Tribute, especially against AoE plus the... whatchamacall, the smart targeting for 24% is going to be super nice, isn't it?